dare I say, maybe like a little sardine can, but in the best way possible. Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to Ticket Before You Kick It, the podcast that's here to inspire, inform, and get you ticking off those unforgettable adventures off your bucket list. I'm Alexandra, and today we're going to be shrinking our space, but not our sense of adventure, as we dive into one of Japan's most unique travel experiences, and that is capsule hotels. Now, if you're just picturing a cozy little sleeping pod about the size of a toaster slot, you're not far off. Capsule hotels in Japan are quirky, efficient, and surprisingly comfortable. In this episode, I'm going to be taking you through everything you need to know about staying in one, from the why to the how, and of course, how to enjoy every second of it. By the end, you'll probably be adding this to your travel bucket list, so let's dive in. So let's just start with the basics. What even is a capsule hotel? Well, picture this. It's the late 1970s and Japan's urban areas are booming, but space is at a premium and the need for quick, convenient, and affordable lodging is on the rise. So enter the capsule hotel. This is a brilliant concept where guests can rent a tiny, efficient pod stacked along the others, all in a clean, streamlined environment. Each pod offers enough space for just a little bed, has some basic comforts like a little light. It's literally minimalist living at its best. So it's almost like a sci-fi scene brought to light, and there's these rows of futuristic space-age capsules waiting to just host travelers. And here's the cool part. The whole concept has gone from purely practical to a bucket list experience, because people come and stay in these capsule hotels not just for their budget-friendly rates, but just for the novelty, the Japanese efficiency, and culture. So let's talk a little bit about my personal experience in a capsule hotel. Now, I ended up going to Japan because I had a few friends working at Disney and we wanted to go visit them. So I ended up going with my best friend to this capsule hotel, and we honestly chose the capsule hotel just because of its uniqueness and because it was a bucket list stay. I mean, how often do you get to literally have a little capsule that you go into? Again, it was like a sci-fi movie just brought to life. So I found this little capsule hotel. We checked in at the front, and honestly, it kind of felt like a really cool bucket list hostel to me. So we had our own little room, and each room had their own set of pods, and we were sharing with others because we were just us two. However, it wasn't crowded or anything. And I do say hostel very lightly because every time I've stayed in a hostel, it's been kind of a crapshoot. However, this was very clean. It was very well maintained. There wasn't a partying atmosphere like a normal hostel. I'm just saying that the whole little like dorm room, and then you just have your own capsule inside. It's very communal, did kind of feel like a hostel. But again, it was just the experience. And it was funny because when we checked in, the hostel that we were staying at personally gave us robes. Then they also had a little spa area where you could go and just sit in these really cool traditional Japanese bathtubs and pamper yourself. So that was really cool. But yeah, it was cool. They gave us like a whole little package. They gave us a little toothbrush, and yeah, very convenient and very efficient. So I ended up taking the top capsule. My best friend ended up taking the bottom capsule, and it was just fun. It was so fun to like crawl up in there. I don't know about you, but I'm like a little kid and I love forts. It's like building your own little fort. You have your own little tiny space. And it was even to the point where as a kid, I would take like refrigerator boxes and then we would decorate them with markers and then I'd sleep in them. So I have been prepping for this capsule hotel ever since I was little, and I just didn't know about it because it kind of did feel like sleeping in a large refrigerator box. And it was so cute. Again, had a little light, had a little charging station. Just felt like I was in some futuristic spaceship being prepped to go to the other planets. Except just throw in some Japanese culture in there and you've got it. It was probably one of the most unique hotels that I've stayed in up until I climbed to a pod on the side of a cliff in Peru. But up until then, this was pretty much the weirdest, most unique place that I have ever stayed, and that's what makes it bucket list accommodation. Overall, stayed a few days, absolutely loved my experience, and I can now say that I've checked it off my bucket list. So now you're curious about how to book a capsule hotel. If you are looking to add this to your Japan itinerary, again, I would recommend it because you need accommodation anyway, so you might as well just like check the accommodation itself off your bucket list, in addition to checking off some other Japanese things off your bucket list. So I found some great easy options on websites like booking.com, or you can even book through the hotel's own site if you have a specific place that you like. Definitely go check out those show notes on the bucketlistmermaid.com. I will be linking some capsule hotels that are my favorite. So if you don't want any of the work of finding any of them, I will find them for you, and then you can just literally click that link and book it. I'll do all the hard work for you. How about that? I just love lazy travel, don't you? However, if you are into finding your own capsule hotel, I would recommend checking the reviews and photos just to get a feel for what's offers. Capsule hotels can be super high tech while others have a more traditional feel. As I said, I feel like mine was a mix. The overall vibe of the dorm room with the capsules, as well as the little spa onsen area, did feel a little bit more traditional, but while I was in the pods, it felt a little more high tech. So I would see what is more important to you, check out the reviews, check out the photos before booking, just to make sure that you know what you're getting. That being said, look for ones that offer amenities like onsen baths or lounge areas. If you're traveling solo, many capsule hotels offer separate floors or sections for men and women, so check that if it is important to you. We stayed in an all-woman capsule hotel. I don't think that it was necessarily done that way for safety reasons or for comfort reasons. It was just kind of how it worked out, and I have no complaints about that. And while most capsule hotels in tourist areas do have English-speaking staff, it is always helpful just to know a few phrases or just have a translation app like Google Translate just to smooth out any language barriers. Now, packing tips. It is a minimalist experience, so do go light. You do normally get a locker for a small bag, and the hotels often provide amenities like towels, pajamas, and slippers. As I said, we even got like a cute little robe, which was a very nice touch, and we did also get slippers, and again, that little package. I've just never been to a hotel that like gives you all of these things. Obviously you get a towel, but I've never been to a hotel that's like, here's a pajamas and robe and slippers, enjoy your capsule. So if you can help it, maybe only bring the essentials like a toothbrush, wallet, maybe a change of clothes. You really won't need much, and the less you bring, the easier it is to slip into that capsule living mindset. This was not available to me since I was also going to China on the back of this, so I had a giant suitcase and kind of had to just leave it by the door. So maybe if you are bringing a suitcase, maybe bring a lock or your own lock just to lock up that suitcase. Lock it to a bedpost or something that you can find there. Or maybe find a place where they do offer luggage storage. The lockers were not big enough to store our entire suitcase, but we could store our valuables like our passports and stuff like that. So now you've booked your stay, you've arrived at your capsule hotel, so get ready for a totally new experience. It kind of felt a little bit like going through airport security meets checking into a spaceship. So in some of them, not the one that I stayed in, but I did see some of them where they have automated kiosks instead of a standard reception desk, especially in those high-tech hotels. So once you're checked in, you'll be given a locker key or maybe a code to store your belongings, and then the moment of truth, the pod itself, you'll walk down the hall, you'll see your capsule just nestled in a row of other pods stacked neatly above or beside each other. Again, it's tiny, but efficient. And stepping into it, you just feel like you're in a little cocoon, or dare I say maybe like a little sardine can, but in the best way possible. Now, the experience inside of the pod. Obviously, each hotel is going to be different, but inside the pod, it's all about streamlined comfort. So you'll find a mattress, a pillow, just enough space to sit up or lie down. Some pods even have individual lightning controls like USB chargers, or even small TVs or radios built right in. If you're like me and just need a little bit of comfort, some of them have settings to adjust the lighting. Mine did not have a TV in it. However, it did have a place to charge my phone. It was literally just like sleeping in a little box, which I know you're like, why would you do this? But trust me, it's such a cool experience. Now, just a little tip for sleeping. Unless you get like a really, really fancy one, the capsules normally aren't soundproof, so bring some earplugs if you're a light sleeper. And just remember that capsule hotels are usually very quiet, so whisper if you need to talk and keep any noise to a minimum. Respecting Japanese cultures in a shared space is just a part of the charm here. So keep in mind that being mindful of others is not just polite, it's part of the Japanese experience. Seriously, Japanese people are so polite. It's so impressive. Going to be honest, when we went to ours, we didn't really run into a lot of other people that were staying in the pods. So once we were in the dorm room and there was no one there, we did speak normally because they're best friends and we're also Americans, so we're a little louder than most. However, when it was time to pipe down, it was very nice and peaceful. And I personally didn't have any issues with people being noisy or anything like that. Again, think hostile vibes, but not hostile party vibes. Thank God. Now, one of the surprising perks of capsule hotels is the amazing shared spaces. As I said, mine had its own onsen. These places go above and beyond to make up for the compact pods. Many capsule hotels have clean, communal bathrooms with individual shower stalls, and some even, again, have onsens. And if you're like, what is an onsen? You keep talking about this. Basically, this is a Japanese-style bath that you'll love unwinding after a busy day. And it was so funny because the one that we were in, it had different shapes of the onsen, and one of them was like a giant cauldron. So we were just absolutely loving the fact that we could just sit in this cauldron. It was like we were just being cooked in the best way possible. And also some of them have lounges, like they're often stocked with vending machines, manga libraries, and sometimes even snack bars. Also, like in Japan, tell me if I'm wrong, but their vending machines are next level. We're talking like hot drinks, cold drinks, ramen, ice cream, you name it. It's like having a mini convenience store inside of your hotel. Here's a quirky tip, like don't be surprised if you find a spa, massage chairs in the lounge. Capsule hotels have really put thought into this entire experience, just making sure that guests can unwind and relax beyond the pod. So just some final tips before you take on the capsule hotel on your bucket list. If you're worried about feeling claustrophobic, remember it is all about the experience. Just take a deep breath, remind yourself that it is a one-of-a-kind stay, and embrace the small space for the adventure it is. If you are very, very claustrophobic, and I mean it is a issue, this is probably not the bucket list experience for you. I am personally not claustrophobic, and I don't think that unless it was very intense that you would feel claustrophobic. If you are having doubts or issues with it, maybe try to contact the capsule hotel directly, express your concerns, maybe try to find a picture of another person in the capsule itself so you can see how cramped it really is. Again, if it is a massive issue, I would maybe try to stay in another hotel in Japan. There are so many hotel options that you can do that are bucket list worthy. But if it's just a little issue and you can maybe push past it, I would recommend trying to, again, just take a deep breath and go for the adventure. And how long? I would try to stay at least one night just to really get a feel for it. I mean, who knows? You might love being cocooned. As I said, I love forts. I love little tiny spaces, so it was nice. It was just like my own little space, my own little cocoon, and I loved it. And if you're wondering if these capsule hotels live up to the hype, trust me, they absolutely do. And what I love about it is that no capsule hotel is the same. Each one has their own personality. So if you're heading to Japan, this is one adventure you won't want to miss. Again, you're not limited to just going out to Japan to adventure. You can also adventure with your accommodation while you're sleeping. So that's super cool. And again, if you want some ideas for capsule hotels, make sure to check out those show notes, book through my link, and be one step closer to checking this off of your bucket list. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode on capsule hotels in Japan. I hope you're feeling inspired to add this quirky, unforgettable stay to your adventure bucket list. It's just such a unique Japanese experience. And I know that they maybe have them other places, but Japan is just where it's at, you know? Thank you for tuning in to Dig It Before You Kick It. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe and share it with your fellow adventurers. And hey, if you've stayed in a capsule hotel, I would love to hear about it. I'm on all social medias at The Bucket List Mermaid, or you can check out the website, thebucketlistmermaid.com. Until next time, keep exploring, keep ticking those boxes, and stay curious. Catch you in the next episode.